Alright, so let's look at how complex numbers work here. So we're going to solve this using the quadratic formula. So if you remember, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. You need to write that thing down and remember it. It's x equals. So a in this case is 3, b is negative 2, and c is 3. So when I plug this thing in, x is going to be equal to negative negative 2, which is positive 2, plus or minus the square root of 2 squared, which is negative 2 squared, right? Minus 4 times 3 times 3 over 2 times 3. Alright, so I'm just going to continue to simplify this down here real quick. So we have a positive 2 plus or minus the square root of 4, because that's 2 squared, minus 4 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9, times 4 is 36, over 6. Okay, let's keep going. 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 32 over 6. Now here's where you need to think about the complex number system. We said that if you have a negative number underneath the root, it doesn't work. And so what that means is I have to make it imaginary. So what I want to do is I want to pull that negative 1 out and essentially just make it I, right? So this is going to be equal to 2 plus or minus the square root of 32i, right? That's what that makes, over 6. Now we can maybe reduce this a little bit more, but the idea is that there's going to be an I located on the outside of this thing. And remember, you have two answers here. So you have 2 plus or minus the square root of 32 over 6 times I. So you could break down the 32. You could break down some different things. You could take 2 out of everything, and some different things like that. So what we want to do then, and I think the best thing to do, is to break down this even more. And so I'm just going to do that over here on the side. The square root of 32 can break down into the square root of 16 and the square root of 2. Because the square root of 16 times the square root of 2 would give you the square root of 32. The square root of 16 is 4, and so you have 4 square root of 2. So what I can do is I can replace that. So let's just put that down here. 2 plus or minus 4 square root of 2 I over 6. Now, what we can do is we can notice that these front numbers all have a factor of 2 in common with them. So that means we can take that 2 out of everything. And what I mean by taking it out is I mean divide. So I can take a 2 out of 2 and I'd have 1 left plus or minus 2 square root of 2 over 3. Don't forget your I. Okay? And so the idea is that you're going to have 2 different answers here, 2 complex answers, and you can't put that in a calculator because it doesn't recognize I. There are some calculators that recognize I, but a lot of the ones out there don't. And so we have to understand that those are our solutions, okay? And we can't just stick it in a calculator and get it just a number. Sometimes you can get a number with an I, like we were looking at before, but a lot of times they're going to be very complex like this.